So just imagine you're fit, you're active, and you are ready for adventure. But just imagine being told, sorry, you're too old. I noticed when we were in Moorea in the French Polynesia, some of the tours cut off at age 60. And we're going to be on a Caribbean cruise in January, and some of those snorkeling cruises cut off at age 70. So I got to ask, is this about safety or is it about travel ageism? Let's explore this a little further. Travelers over 70 are found that they're not always welcomed on excursions. And I explored a lot of different travel blogs and websites, and I'm including real quotes from these sources. 3 different diving companies turned us down. They told us their age limits was 7 to 67. Well, we're past 70. Now, how would they come up with the age 67? Pretty specific. I was only 69, so I could book the excursion, but my husband was 71, so he wouldn't be able to join me. So just imagine how you feel if you're the spouse and you're turned away just because you're slightly over that 70 age limit. Is that fair? I think part of the problem isn't policy, it's exception. You know, many people kind of like group the gray hairs, right, into grandmas and grandpas. And senior citizen can mean you kind of carry some extra baggage. It might suggest frailty, dependency, and hey, you're past your prime. But that stereotype, well, it doesn't always match reality. There's many seniors who are marathon runners, adventure travelers, and yes, even record breakers. Yet that label can marginalize them. And I think that attitude spills over into travel agencies and their policies. I mean, just look at some of these amazing elders. You have Diana Nyad, who swam from Cuba to Florida, 110 miles of open ocean at the age of 64. Ernestine Shepard is still bodybuilding in her 80s. And Charles Yuckster, he took up sprinting in his 90s and broke records at 95. Okay, I admit, these are extreme individuals, remarkable elders. But they prove a point. Not everyone is the same. And age is a terrible measure of ability. So when the travel agencies and excursions adopt age limits, well, could that be travel ageism? Here's another quote. I was in better shape than most of the 40-year-olds on that tour, but I was told I was too old. To me, when age is used as a label, it is not a measure of ability. I think people then are stopped being seen as individuals. And yes, it does fuel tourism ageism. And for many, that sting is particularly sharp. You might swim numerous laps every day, hike the mountains, and you could be in better condition than people half your age. But doesn't matter. There is an age limit. You know, a gentleman that's helping me out in my yard right now, he's in his mid-60s, and he is a mountain climber. He is in fantastic shape. But yet, he might be denied for doing a certain hike just because of his age. We go to the gym 5 times per week and cannot take this excursion because we are barely over 70. Well, how does that feel to the person? It's kind of humiliating, right? It makes you feel old. It's like your ability doesn't matter. It's only all about your birth date. And to me, it's not just about missing that tour. It's about dignity. Travel is freedom, independence, proof that you're still capable. But when you're told you can't participate, well, you feel like your independence has an expiration date. Hate the thought that my snorkel days are over. Now, there's 2 sides to this too. What if you are the excursion operator? You don't want somebody who lacks the ability to do a task, be it swim numerous yards or hike up a mountain, you don't want that person or persons to hold back the entire group and spoil it for the rest of the people. So you choose age as just an easy cutoff. But it is true. If somebody, no matter what their age is, isn't up to the physical demands, it can spoil the excursion for everyone. And it could even be life-threatening. So I kind of get why operators are cautious. But I also am kind of upset, maybe because, yeah, I'm 70. And in June of next year, I'll be 71. So on our Caribbean cruise, my husband and I will both be 70. We're okay for that cruise. But next one, probably not. But to me, this is where personal responsibility should come in. Now, when we were in Moorea in the French Polynesia, we took a whale watching, swim with the whales tour. Yeah, you were able to swim with humpback whales, mama and babies. I believe there's only 2 places in the entire world you can do that. And my husband and I were both on the ship, or the boat I should say, and there were, I think, 7 other couples, and those 7 other couples all did swim with the whales, but they had to swim out 100 to 150 yards in pretty rocky water and do it pretty quickly and as quietly as they could to get close enough to the whales. But my husband and I thought, you know, my husband is having hip surgery. But by the time you watch this, he will probably have had his surgery. And I know that I'm a swimmer, and if you gave me enough time, I could make that, but not probably quickly. And I'm not the best with a snorkel and getting salt water in my mouth. So we decided we wouldn't do that, but we sat on the boat, we enjoyed, we saw whales go up, 10 feet in the air, jumps, and of course that tail thing, right? I mean, we had a marvelous time just watching the whales. And we made personal responsibility. We aren't going on that because we don't want to hold somebody back. So to me, maybe age isn't the problem. It's knowing your limits and respecting them. But here's the thing. I think a lot of travelers can't make smart decisions because there isn't enough descriptions in the excursion. It really should be written like a job description. Can you swim 100, 150 yards out in the ocean when it's going like that, right? Can you hike in the jungle in 95-degree plus weather for 15 miles? Questions like that about what abilities you might need on that excursion. Or maybe if you suffer from back problems, this is a very, very bumpy ride and it might not be the best one for you. Those type of things should be outlined in every excursion description. Because I think when the demands are clear, the traveler can self-select rather than be told, I'm sorry, you're too old. And here's the kicker. 70-plus travel crowd is growing. AARP reports 70% of people 50-plus are planning trips this year. Among those over 60, it's nearly 68%. In Europe, people 65-plus account for 1 in 4 tourism nights. So seniors aren't a fringe group. They're a major part of the tourism market. Maybe for some, you should require medical clearance of anybody that's going to take that excursion. I know my husband and I used to be avid skiers, and he was the type of skier that, did helicopters off the moguls in, very difficult slopes. I was the moderate one that was just happy when I got down to the bottom of the hill, okay? And I could easily see what hills would be for me and what were for him because, if it was a black diamond, wasn't my kind of ski hill. It was my husband's. So I noticed a tourism company in New Zealand is using that same different icons for their tours. Green is easy, blue is moderate, and black, well, that's more difficult. So my point is this. Travel should be for everyone, and there shouldn't be exclusions based just on your age. So I think we should focus on ability, not assumptions, but each of us travelers should take personal responsibility and say, you know what? I think that might be a little too much for me. Maybe I could have done it 15 years ago, maybe not now. And that way, we make the decision and not the company. So I've got to ask, have you ever been turned down because of your age to go on an excursion? Let me know. Comment down below. And remember, no matter what your age, adventure awaits you. Thanks for listening.